Welcome back, legends. We have an awesome video for you today. We're going to cover the top 5 reasons why people just don't last in Medellin. It can be kind of a challenging city for a lot of reasons. And to help us today with this video, we have my mate Andy. He's been here for 13 years. He's one of the original Medellin expats. So let's get into it, mate.
The number one reason I've seen people over the last 13 years not last in Colombia is that they don't learn the language. Most locals here do not speak English, so you should know some sort of Spanish.
For any of you guys that don't know, less than 5% of the Colombian population speak any type of English. That's one thing I really noticed when I arrived here. I was immediately like, oh my God, nobody speaks English at all here.
If you're a tourist here and you're coming in for a couple days, a weekend, a week, maybe even a month, you could probably get by without Spanish. You'll be all right. You might be paying up the premium, which we call the gringo tax or the gringo price. But if you're looking to be here long term, you should know some sort of Spanish. So what happens to those people that don't speak Spanish when they live here? There are groups of expats. They find each other. They link up, they create their little groups, their friendships, and they become the expat group or whatever. They're expat friends. They don't make local connections when they lose their expat friends because expats have the tendency to move or travel a lot, etc. When those people aren't here, they're left alone. They have to go through the whole process of making new friends again. And after a few years, that process can seem tedious or long. But when you make local friends, those tend to last for a long time, if not a lifetime, for a lot of the people that choose to live here.
You guys have even seen a lot of my videos are very interesting because I walk around and I talk to locals and get their opinions on things. That's just my daily life. Every day I'm talking to someone at a shop or someone, an Uber driver or anyone I'm talking to in Spanish. But if I didn't know, then I'm just really stuck in talking to only a very small percentage of the people that live here. The number 2 reason why many foreigners don't last in Medellin is Colombia is known for having very bad levels of customer service. What can you say about that?
It's a countrywide phenomenon. In Medellin, parts of the city have gotten better. For example, the touristy parts or even secluded parts where they have better restaurants. And some even mom and pops have changed a little bit. But for the most part, customer service is pretty bad. You can go to the grocery store behind 10 people with maybe 2 or 3 items. You might even be in the express line, but there'll only be 1 cashier open, maybe 2. The 2 cashiers are moving slower than molasses, maybe even chit-chatting with each other or with the client.
Or texting on the phone.
Texting on the phone, laughing, while there are 10, 11, 12, 15 people waiting to get through the line and no one seems to care. Not only do the people in the line don't really care, more importantly, the managers and the other people that are just sitting around doing nothing don't care. That's a big culture clash that you should be aware of. The biggest thing that you're going to learn about this is patience. When you go back to your country to visit for the holidays and you're at the mall and you're waiting in a line, you're going to be like, this is a piece of cake compared to a regular day at a grocery store in Colombia. You can find yourself going to a restaurant. It might even be a high-end restaurant where you sit down with your date or even by yourself, and it may take them 5-10 minutes for them to get to your table to even offer you a drink. And usually they will bring the menu, which is usually a QR code for you to scan and then leave right away. Disappear. Here you go, bye. It's
Gone like that, man.
I already know what I want to drink. And the kicker is that when they bring you the bill, most places include the tip. They don't even ask you if you want to include the tip. They'll just include it in the receipt and expect you to pay the 10% tip.
And you skipped one part also, like once you finish your meal and you're ready to go, you need to actually do some hide and seek and chase down the server to pay your bill.
Yeah, if the restaurant's busy, it may take a while to pay the bill. And even worse, if you need to split the bill with a large group. Oh my God, that's a headache sometimes.
That's a full day job.
Furthermore, let's say you are the type of person that is very impatient and that you want to complain to someone. Maybe you're a male Karen or a female Karen, and you need to talk to the manager. People don't take criticism well here. They don't like to take responsibility for their own faults, while you may be in the right, because the customer's always right. In Colombia, the customer is not always right. The customer is always wrong. I know people over the 13 years I've been here, that was the number 1 driving factor for them to leave here, because they don't cook at home. They go out a lot. And it's not only customer service at a restaurant. I'm talking about everything from the grocery store to the bank, rental agencies, internet providers. Customer service can be shit. And when I say shit, it is the worst. That's why people leave Colombia. Continuously bad customer service years over years. That's why I have a personal assistant.
Yeah.
Deal with that bullshit. I don't know how to deal with it.
If you don't have patience, you're not going to last here.
Right.
The next one, guys, is something that personally irks me to maximum levels of frustration, and that's punctuality. Latinos and Colombians just don't give a flying about being on time. And the worst thing is they'll show up 2 hours late and they won't even be apologetic. They'll just say, hey, what's up? Like, it's a normal thing. And if you get angry about it, you're the bad guy, right?
Yeah. They don't take criticism well here. We've gone over that. And punctuality is definitely not a thing. And it's funny because I grew up in the United States in Southern California where people are laid back, but you're still punctual. It's still American time, right? Unless if you're Latino or black.
Yeah.
Then you're on Latino or black time. Okay. So if you're familiar with Latino or black time in the US or in whatever country you're in, then you'll understand. Here, it's a little bit more like on steroids, where if someone is 30 minutes late, that could be on time for them.
Early, even.
That could be even early. Yeah, like, oh, why are you here so early? We said we were going to be here at 7. Yeah, but no one gets here at 7. We got here at 9. That could be a huge difference maker for people, especially if you're going to try to do business out here. We were talking about just regular meeting someone for lunch or something, but even in business, this will happen. To the point where I've had times where I want to buy an apartment. I set up the date with the real estate agent, the person selling the apartment, to look at the apartment and talk about price, and they don't show up and ghost me on messages until 2 or 3 days later and say, oh, so sorry, something came up. And that's normal for them. As a Colombian, I don't even get it. I get it because I have a sister and I have cousins, and I know women are always late to shit. I'm also Latino and I have a lot of black friends, and I know they're all late for shit, but I still don't get it. It becomes a little frustrating, but you learn to deal with it.
The next one is a huge one. Why people come here and be like, oh my God, I cannot live like this anymore.
Yeah, food has gotten better in Medellin over the last 13 years, particularly, in the touristy areas, because you have a more diverse amount of restaurants. Colombian food as a whole is pretty bland. I mean, there are some dishes that are pretty eclectic, but for a Colombian, if you're using more than 2 spices, it's like, you're Wolfgang Puck. There are not a lot of varieties.
Yeah.
Once you experience the whole of the Colombian menu, it basically stays there.
Yeah.
There's no variation. This is not Mexico. A lot of people think that, because they speak Spanish, everyone in the world that speaks Spanish eats like a Mexican.
No way.
But no, only Mexicans eat like Mexicans.
Yeah.
Colombians eat very differently. And on top of that, there are no other types of food. For example, you're not going to get authentic Chinese food, authentic Thai food. Why? Because who the fuck is immigrating to Colombia from a better life from a third world country?
No.
You don't go from a third world country to another up country
to
make a better life and build a little China, a little Saigon,
little Ethiopia.
a little Ethiopia. Yeah, like in LA, New York, you can't compare that.
Usually the best countries, US, Australia, UK, they have great food because all, for lack of a better word, poor people from other countries come there and bring their spices and stuff, right?
And they settle.
Here, no. It's more the rich people coming.
Yeah, expats.
The expats.
We don't call them immigrants. We call them expats.
Okay, but that's another story.
Yeah, that's for another video.
That's for another day. One of the biggest ones that might be in your mind, safety.
I've lived here, again, for 13 years, since 2010, and I've never been robbed on the street. Never been pickpocketed. I lived in downtown Medellin for a year and a half while I taught English down there. I saw people robbed, but I had never got robbed. That being said, it's not uncommon to be robbed in Medellin, especially for tourists and foreigners. People do get robbed in Medellin, and it's evident. Everybody knows somebody that has had a robbery happen, whether it's a home invasion or just a petty theft out in the street. 2, being careless and leaving their bag down somewhere and then coming back and it's never there. It's not there. It could be an establishment. It could be a restaurant. It could be a grocery store.
Guys, we have a video we've actually recorded telling you guys all our best collection of safety tips, which are going to keep you safe while you're here in Medellin.
For the most part, Medellin is safe. But if you make yourself an easy target, someone will find you eventually.
Have a look at that because honestly, watching and understanding is greatly going to increase your success of being safe in this city. You had an interesting fact about the criminal system and penal code here, right?
According to the Colombian Penal Code, which you can find online, it's called secretariasenado.gov.co. The punishment for an unarmed robbery valued less than approximately $2,500 is between 16 to 36 months. They'll probably do 80%, maybe even 50%, depending on how overcrowding is right now. If the police catch him and there's no charges being pressed, he'll be out the next day because of overcrowding. That's why you see a lot of street justice here, where if they catch a petty thief out in the street, the neighborhood comes out and beats the crap out of him because they know he's going to be out the next day. So they want them to remember not to come to this neighborhood or else you're going to get beat up.
I understand that getting robbed or pickpocketed or something can be traumatic, but it's also, you know, not the end of the day. But I have heard also stories of someone just walking on the street and a guy jumping off a bike with a gun in the face and saying, give me all your stuff, let's go. That could be a lot more, you know?
Yeah, like I said, being pickpocketed is one thing, but really a breaking point for a lot of the friends that have been robbed here and left, it's because it was an armed robbery. Whether it was a knife or an actual gun pointed at them and their belongings stolen, they decide that this is not the place for them because it's way too dangerous. And I completely understand and agree at that point. Just the other day at the bar that I go to watch basketball, someone almost got shot. We were watching basketball. It's on Calle 10. A guy came up with a gun and wanted the necklace on a guy that was sitting on the patio side of the establishment. It was a fake necklace, and the guy said no. And the guy went boom, and the guy said okay.
What did everyone else at the bar do?
Everyone's like, oh my God, what the fuck? That kind of thing can happen even in broad daylight.
Can scare a lot of people away, right?
Yeah. I've never been robbed at gunpoint. Knock on wood, I've never had that happen to me here in the 13 years I've been here. Granted, there are some things that I do to prevent this stuff from happening.
And we cover all that in our video of all our tips that we collated into one kind of safety Bible.
Right.
People don't speak Spanish, so they get lonely. They keep meeting expats. They can't connect with the locals. There's a lot of cultural issues which can drive people up the wall. And the third thing is crime. Yeah.
Right.
Out of those three, which would you say is the biggest reason you've seen a lot of people not last in Medellin and go home?
The Medellin Masterclass. 10 hours exclusive content that will help you decipher a lot of these things that we have talked about today in detail, depending on your needs. But you're not only getting 10 hours worth of content, you're also getting access to our community full of people that, just like you, want to live in Medellin or are living in Medellin, sharing ideas, sharing experiences. There's a community for you here, and it's all positive, creating this amazing life that we've already created here for ourselves. We only take a limited amount of people into this class because it's very intense and it's very personal. Fill out the form by clicking the link below. We'll evaluate, set up a call, and we'll see if we can work together. Enjoy our content. Make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you guys in Medellin. The one that has driven the most people away, I would say the crime one, because I can think of at least 5 or 6 people since COVID that have been robbed, whether it was being drugged by a Tinder date or being robbed on the street at gunpoint, that just decided this is not the place for me. But I can also think of other people that had never been robbed, but that just didn't like Medellin for certain reasons that we talked about.
If you know how to do it properly, go through the right steps, you mitigate a lot of these negative issues and make your stay in the city a lot better.
I agree with that, and a lot of you that are watching this video, it might be your first time in Medellin, and for many of you as well, it might be your second, third time you want to live in Medellin. If that is the case, make sure to click the link below and fill out the form so that we can get in touch with you.
We have a lot more of these type of videos coming where we're going to give you a lot of value and really going to help you with your transition to visiting or even living here. So stay tuned, and we'll catch you on the next one.
See you later.
Ciao.